Jaylen Royals. Now, plenty of people say high over type when it comes to wide receivers. Jaylen Royals ticks a lot of those boxes. Shifty, natural separator with a huge amount of production. I'm joined by Wyatt at WyattB_FF on Twitter to break him down. Now, Wyatt, are you a big fan of Jaylen Royals as I am, or are you a little bit more concerned?
I'm definitely a fan of Royals. I don't know if I'll be exactly as high as you are on Royals, but I do like him. He's got what I think is now considered the prototypical size for a wide receiver entering the NFL. This 6'2", 200 approximately, because this is a type of player or type of size where this is a player who could work across the field. Now, Royals, I do think possibly is more of just a slot type only player, but he's also pretty darn explosive. It seems we got the 40 time that showed, okay, he does have athletic ability, but it's an incomplete profile at this point. So we do have to, it's a little bit of looking on film to see how explosive he really is. But that immense amount of production that he had is really encouraging. And that's the kind of difference between him and Xavier Restrepo, where with Restrepo, you're a little bit concerned about how long it took him to produce, what the ceiling really is for him, what the athletic ability really is. Royals is someone where you have less of those concerns. And he looks like somebody who, while he might be majority slot in the NFL, I do think he has at least the possibility to be working outside too.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I dive in though, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, we're closing in on 3,500 subscribers. Go down, hit that subscribe button and help us get there sooner rather than later. Look, I love Royals. I think the route running is always what I'm going to start with. And I think he is a natural separator. I think he understands how to set up defenders. He understands, just the subtle shades, how to get an inside shoulder to gain that leverage in order to create separation. I think that's really impressive. I think the movement skills underneath, I wasn't expecting him to run low 4.4s at the combine. He did. I think fair play to him. The production, as you said, I think to me, yes, he's probably a slot heavy receiver, but I don't think he's a slot only guy. I think he's a guy, different type of player, but someone like a Zay Flowers, where he's going to be that flanker, but sometimes go in the slot and work out there. And he can be that kind of Z/slot type. I'd be really excited if that's the kind of role that he lands in. Yeah, we probably need to mention it. Obviously, small school, always a little bit concerning when someone has that production like he did in his second year at Utah State and then didn't move. It's like, okay, someone was probably throwing a decent amount of money at you. Why didn't you go? But I'm sure he had his reasons. He came back and produced even more in his next year. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think he is underrated just because people are kind of helmet scouting and looking at it going, small school production, doesn't matter. I think it translates to the NFL, and I'm really excited about the value I'm potentially going to be getting on Jaylen Royals in rookie drafts.
Yeah, I think if he is just mostly slot, I think he can produce in that role. And then he has the ceiling of possibly playing outside as well in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got, we talked earlier about if they're going to be a slot only guy, they've got to be willing to mix it up in the run game. I don't think he's a guy that can win at the point of attack. He's not a guy that is a plus in the run game, but he's willing. He puts his body on the line. I think he's, he nets out at average, which for a lot of teams, that's, that's enough. The receiving upside is enough to go with that kind of average in the blocking game. So I'm very, very hopeful about what he could be.